Okay.
So she sees the husband. She runs upstairs.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to review Queen's Gambit episode 2. I finally was able to watch some of the episodes this time, so I will be able to contribute to this review. What did you think of episode 2?
The entire episode. My goodness, a lot of things to talk about that. But so, okay, based upon your experience, did you find the second episode better than the first one, or
I
how
did.
was it?
I enjoyed episode 2 much more. The first episode, I kind of found myself kind of getting bored at some parts. You know, I felt some parts were bored, like some of the interpersonal stuff with her and her friend. I didn't really care too much about that. Uh, yeah, episode 2, I loved I loved the world that they were in. I loved the period. I liked some of the interaction. I love the adopted mother and a lot of
Yeah.
her scenes. So no, all the way through, it kept my interest. So yeah, I really enjoyed
I
episode
think
2.
that's the theme that they're trying to like. In terms of direction, it's an excellent direction. I can say that much. Cinematography was also good. Uh, what you were mentioning about like how I mean this is a periods drama. You know, it's of the '60s, and they are trying to pick the best features of those. Actually, the most realistic features of those times. Like attention to detail was excellent in that. Like how like today's houses don't have that amount of wallpaper. Like if you notice, there was wallpaper everywhere.
I like the
You
colors.
know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
the colors
yeah, the
too.
colors were like the Art Deco style furniture and everything. Art Deco style everywhere. Like so it's very like these attention to details was like really good. Um, if you're coming to this particular TV show or movie or however you call it, the web series, from a chess point of view, I think you might be slightly disappointed so far in the second episode as well. But if you're looking at it from a psychological point of view, like people who like psychological dramas and stuff like that, more like the human part of it, I guess, then you would actually like that the second episode as well as the first episode.
Well, let's talk about the chess aspects for a little bit. How
Okay.
was it realistic? Is that how chess tournaments usually go down for teenagers?
Well, the chess tournaments are fine, like the way they have shown, because we don't know what happened in 1960s, basically. But the way it was, like they seem to make it look easy that you can just go into a tournament and win it. Like even people who have been veterans, who are highly rated as well, they understand that it's not that easy to just go into a tournament, walk into a tournament, and just win it, and they make it look so easy
Well,
in this particular.
she was unrated, so they matched her with the weakest players to begin the
At
tournament.
the Yeah, to begin the tournament, but I'm talking about the entire tournament.
You know, actually, in a tournament structure like that, it actually does favor the lower rated players because you do get to be matched up with lower rated players for a couple rounds, right? Isn't that? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much.
But then
So
it's a winners play winners
then
and
the
losers
winners
play
play the
losers kind
winners.
of
Yeah,
thing.
so
It's a Swiss
that's kind of
style of tournament. Yeah.
right, right. So
Another version is round robin when you have to play all of them. So it doesn't matter. Like, the luck will not favor you that way. So you
mhm.
have to play each and every one of them. So that's round robin thing.
But notice even after she won 2 games, they still paired her with the weakest player, the weakest of the winners. So at the end of the turn,
Yeah.
so even though she was playing the winner still, because she was a girl and she was unrated, the tournament organizers still chose to give her the benefit. So maybe her first tournament was easier than it would have been otherwise, just considering that she had an advantage because of how the tournament organizers structured it.
Okay. Yeah.
Perhaps, but
Yeah.
she still had to defeat. So she had never played a tournament before. She
Yeah.
never she didn't have a rating, and she still beat a 2100 rated player.
Yeah, that's something, obviously.
By the way, did you notice something curious? There were two times in this episode that a player with a losing position offered a draw over the board. Did you notice
That
that?
mm, well, that's how usually happens, right? People either it's
No.
completely drawish, or if you're losing slightly, or in
If
inferior position.
but if you have a clearly lost position, like a parent, like the one guy had a mate in three against him or something like that, to offer a
Yeah.
draw, first of all, it's rude even if you do it on the computer. A little bit, but to do it in
No, but
real life, where there's a mate in three and you reach out your hand and you offer a
if you're
draw.
playing against a strong player, it's kind of rude. But if you're playing against a weak player, so he didn't know how strong she was, like based on her rating, because we usually actually assess people based on their ratings, right? But if someone's like 800 rated or unrated player, people don't know whether this person is able to, deliver a checkmate or not. There are so many people who are unable to do that, like, bishop plus knight checkmate and stuff like that, even at a higher level. So that might be one of the reasons. I'm not saying that's something which is sportsmanlike, but people still do that. People
But
won't resign in a completely lost position, because that's where the coaches actually tell them, do not resign. And the same process goes for players. They try to offer it to side with the position, because if the position is complex, then people might
you're breaking up a little bit,
something of
so
that nature.
but I get the gist of it.
Can you hear me now?
But yeah, yeah, but still,
Yeah.
it seems a little rude and a little bit unsportsmanlike to offer a draw when you're in
Yeah.
a lost position. I don't know. I don't think it happens very much, but even if it does happen every once in a while, I doubt that it would happen like two rounds in a row, where like a player would have a lost position, know that everybody knows it's lost, but you still reach out your hand and you offer a draw. Like that's something that I don't know. I don't think chess players would do that very often.
I
I don't
have
know.
had players do that.
You have had that happen. Wow,
Yes.
wow, that is so embarrassing. I
And
would.
I didn't know how to like respond to that, because I was like, are you kidding me? Like like you have like 4 5 pieces, less than mine. 4 5, that's a lot.
You offer
Even
a
one
draw.
piece down, and like, yeah. And I didn't know like whether he's kidding. And then when I said no,
You got
he got
angry.
upset. He got upset. No, he didn't get angry as such, like, storming out and everything. He got upset that, I was like, come on, man.
Hmm. Hmm.
At least be I would say, like, take it like a man, like, be dignified about it. This is the reason, like, sometimes chess gets a bad rep, because there are some people who are just giving it a bad reputation by acting in this manner. But
So there was something else that happened during the chess tournament.
yeah.
Beth Harmon's character had her first period. Now,
uh,
she was 16 years old at the time of this tournament.
yeah.
Now, look, I don't know much about the female anatomy or biology. It seems to me, though, that the writers kind of are just trying to beat us over the head with the fact that Beth Harmon is a female. Like, what do you think about that?
That happens quite a lot when we deal with mathematics as well. Like, there are people who like someone just because it's a female. Like, I know this famous mathematician, Emmy Noether. I like her, or she's dead now, but I like her stuff. We actually admire her for her mathematics. She was strong, regardless of what gender she was from, right? I don't even if she were a guy, we would still love her, love him, whatever. But the point was that we would respect. I think, even in this particular case, if she's brilliant, regardless of if she's a guy or a girl.
Right.
So you don't need to tell us that every time there is something. I understand there are some gender issues. Way back in the 60s, there were. Even today, there are. But uh, I don't want this to be like a feminist issue. It should be more like, okay, is she good at chess? Yes. Then she will get. She deserves all kinds of respect, like, no, that goes along with being good at something like that. That's my take on that. But like, some people might agree, some people might disagree about this fact that, they're trying to emphasize more on a gender, as opposed to more on her being good at chess, and also her psychological stuff, whatever the things that she because she went through a lot in her childhood, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's take a look at a clip because one of the things that I really loved is the realistic portrayal of the family, her adopted family that she was in, the relationship between the husband and the wife. Now it's a little bit of a
Yeah.
cliche, but it does come across as realistic to me. So I'm gonna play this a quick 10 seconds or so of this clip, and let's take a look.
Okay.
So she sees the husband. She runs upstairs.
Yeah. Changes and comes back, I think.
Hello, Mr. Wheatley.
Oh, hi, Beth.
Yeah. So I really thought that that was interesting because I don't know. There was a very kind of male dominated society in the 60s. And the fact that the mother like had to drop everything she was doing to run just to do her hair because her husband was coming home. I felt that like that power dynamic was a very like all right, it
More
was
realistic than,
it
yeah.
was it was heavy handed, but I think it was kind of realistic, right? Because the mother's livelihood depends upon how happy the husband is with her, right?
Yeah. Back in
So
the day, it was so. Yeah, back in the day, it was so.
so
Uh,
and later on in this episode, he actually leaves them, and
yes.
that is a very life altering situation for them.
Yeah.
It could have been devastating,
Especially if the mother is not working,
right?
because then everything falls back on, how to take care of the child if the child is small. Fortunately for her, that her kid is not that small, so she can take care of it. But it will be hard for a single mother to actually take the kid to the drop the kid at the school, take him back, make sure that they do their homework,
Well,
also
yeah,
go
she
to the
didn't even
work.
have a car. He took the
Yeah,
car, so
yeah,
he took the car. She only had like $7 to her name, and
yeah,
Beth Harmon almost had to go back to the orphanage. Like it was a
yeah,
horrible situation, right? Fortunately for her and her mother, she was able to win a tournament to get $100.
yeah.
And you know what she does with the $100? She buys a dress and some books. Like literally, they're living hand to mouth. Like they don't even know where their next meal is.
Yeah, they haven't explored that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not what she did. But one of the I noticed is, see, usually when you go to the orphanage, like these people, the kids who are adopted are younger. She's the only one who's the older one that's getting adopted. And when she talks about that to her mother, remember, like in the second episode, they were talking when she's playing the piano, when the mother is
Mhm.
playing the piano, and she asked her, did you have a kid or do you have a kid or whatever? And she said, yes, we did. So
We
I'm
did, yeah.
thinking the reason, this is my thought process, I might be wrong. The reason they adopt an older kid is because she feels that her kid that she lost,
Would
maybe,
have been
I
the
don't know
same
how she lost
age.
it,
Yeah,
it would have been the same
would have
age.
been the same age. Yeah.
Yeah. And that might be the reason. But they should have explored that in a much more depth. I don't know, maybe they edited it out because they
Mm.
thought, like, it's
Well,
irrelevant or something.
well,
Actually, that was relevant.
exactly, and perhaps because adopting the daughter was his idea.
That's what she says.
So perhaps
But looking at it, like, it doesn't seem so, because he's never nice to her.
he's never nice
He's
to
never,
her, but he
he
may
doesn't even
have
look at her.
no, but there might be a reason for that, right? So he may have been hoping to have some sort of familial connection with his wife if they adopted a kid, but he was feeling guilty because he still didn't he didn't have that connection to his wife even after that. And I think it kind of played on his conscience a little bit like that. I'm assuming, right? Like we don't, like you said, it wasn't
Yeah.
explored very much, and his character in particular wasn't explored very much. We see how he
Yeah.
behaves, but we don't get any kind of exposition from him, so we can't understand why is he
Why he's
doing
behaving in that manner? Yeah.
right.
Why is
Right.
that behavior in such a manner?
We can only
True.
guess. We can only guess.
Yeah.
Um,
But that would have been a nice, like, when you start exploring characters and the depth of their, behavior and, expressions, then actually start unraveling many mysteries. Because clearly this is not a chess, like it has a chess as a theme, but we are not really looking into a chess, particularly chess movie or something like that.
Hmm.
Because even about the chess part, they are not talking about the failures. Even Bobby Fischer had to go through all types of failures before he started. He had to struggle a lot before he started gaining acceptance, getting all those things, because that's what makes or breaks a chess player, the failures. When you go in and out, like you study your chess, prepare for a tournament, and then go and lose. That those losses, those failures, make or break a chess player. They never covered this part. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win the tournament. Every kid would say that, and every parent like, sure, we should just start gambling on this kid now. Like put $100 on her, you know, and she wins, get $1,000 back. If that were like the ideal source of income for everyone, every poor kid will start, going into chess.
Right, right, absolutely.
But that's not how it is.
Wait, well, there's another problem with her level. All right, so she's above 2100 at 16, but she didn't have access to a lot of games. She had MCO. That was the only book she had in the orphanage.
No,
Was
she
a,
had different books as well,
well,
not just MCO.
no,
She had different books,
she had a
game
chess
collection.
opening. Oh, I didn't see the game collection in episode 1. I saw
But she was
MCO. That's it.
she asked for MCO when she's leaving the orphanage. Remember, she
She
asked Jolene,
she had
the
other
black
books, but
girl.
she didn't have any other chess books because the
Those are
book.
game collections.
Oh,
Those are game collections.
okay, okay, okay. I missed that part. I
Of
missed
course,
that part. Okay.
yeah, of course they cannot have chess software back in the day, but the only way, like the stuff that they had was game collections.
Okay, so I missed the fact that she had game. So now that makes a little bit more sense because she needs to see losses. She needs to at least experience other people's losses. I assume that she only studied the openings and she just was playing games in her head and she raised over 2100.
No,
Like
no, no.
that's not very realistic. But okay, so she did have game collections. Well, okay, so that does mirror Bobby Fischer's training. With he was able to
Yeah.
study huge numbers of games when he was learning chess.
That's how like mostly people in the 60s, 70s, all the way till the 80s and 90s, they study. Back like in the late 90s when the chess software started becoming more prominent in your chess preparation, the engines and stuff like that, and databases. That's when people started checking books and started getting more and more softwares, more databases and stuff like that.
She was able to read Jose Raul Capablanca's autobiography, right? My
Yeah,
games
my
and
chess career,
my
chess career.
career.
Yeah,
So which I picked up at some point in my life. I don't know if it was in college or not, but I remember
I never read that.
I remember looking at that at some point, but I forget. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about today is the gender focus of the movie.
Yeah,
And you touched on it a little bit because, like as you said, in math, in physics, if there's a female physicist, everyone highlights her gender to an
yeah,
overwhelming degree. Well, as we talked about with the husband and that social dynamic, there is this male dominated social hierarchy happening in her life. So I
yeah.
suppose that people might be shocked, as even the janitor, the custodian said, women don't play chess, which I'm not sure. Okay,
Back
well,
in the days, yeah, there
there was
not
no
many
Judith. There was
women chess.
there was no Judith Polgar at this time, so to enlighten everyone.
Well, there was Nona Goprindashvili, or Gaprindashvili.
Mhm.
Vera Menchik played in the 1940s, so it's not like she was one of the top 10 chess players in the world back then. Vera Menchik, I'm hoping that you know her name.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was a very strong chess player, almost grandmaster level. But yeah,
You know what? But in my opinion, it seems like they're trying to, I don't know, beat us over the head with the fact that she is a woman. Uh,
yeah. I
I think
mean,
they
I
can
don't
do
know.
it in.
Some people like that preferences. I personally don't, because I think it's an insult to the woman.
Yeah, it is. I
If
think so
she,
too.
yeah, because this, okay, so let's there's this programming. I don't want to take a name, but this programming teacher, she's a programmer and she teaches. The great thing about her, other than the fact that she teaches nicely and she's very good at teaching, is that the thing she said in her biography, like not biography, like biographical sketch that you write, about yourself. I am a programmer. I just happen to be a woman. I'm not a woman programmer.
Oh, yeah,
And
exactly.
this is something good because, we don't care if you're a woman or a, man, as long as you are good at what you do. Okay. She is good at programming, and that's why people go to her to learn programming. They don't go to her because, oh, she's a woman programmer, as if like this is the reason I don't like this whole thing. I mean, some people prefer it that way, to focus on their gender. I personally think focus on their brilliance regardless of what the gender is.
Absolutely.
If she's good at it, she's good at it. No one can deny that. No one should deny that. I mean, there will be people who would have biases against it. I understand that. But personally, I think it's an insult to their intelligence. It's an insult to their talent,
Hmm.
whatever talent it might be. If you keep focusing on the gender and not focus on the talent.
You know what? This. Let's talk about one other subject.
Sure.
Now, this is. I didn't know that I wanted to talk about this, but it just occurred to me. This was during her tournament towards the end when she
Yeah.
goes into the bathroom to take some pills. Now, and I think we should do a video on cheating in chess
Okay.
because that's where I'm going with this. Is this a
Okay.
performance enhancing thing that she does here? You see, she takes this pill
Yeah. That calms her.
to
But
calm
then,
her to calm her nerves,
yeah.
and then she goes back out there and she performs better. Nerves should be a part of any kind of sport, and I don't think that it's fair for one of your opponents to go to the bathroom and pop a pill and then come back and have extra performance enhancing benefit from that. What do you
But
think?
yeah, but that's a dicey thing. Like, some people say having cocaine. Cocaine makes you alert for like a short period of time. Yeah, extremely alert.
Either way, I don't want my
You
opponent to be able to go do a line of cocaine either, and then come back and have any sort of advantage over me because he's taking Adderall or something, right?
and
Or something.
yeah, but see, some people even think coffee is a performance enhancing drug.
Well, you
So what
know
do you
what?
think of that?
If it's regular coffee, I'm kind of okay with that. But if it's a caffeine, if it's like some
But
hyper
that's the
dose,
calf.
if it's some hyper
Okay,
dose of caffeine, I'm
like a
totally
shot of
against that.
coffee, a shot of coffee.
Well, I mean, but something a little bit more powerful than that. I mean, like an espresso would be a lot of caffeine. I
So
get
where
it.
where would you draw a line?
I would draw the line in something, some concentrated form of caffeine to give you a boost, right? A boost in performance.
Juice and chocolates, because your sugar level drops when you're playing a long game. So people eat chocolates. People
I'm
eat.
okay with that. I'm okay with
So
that.
no, you're okay with that. But how do we see that if that might be considered as a performance enhancing? Because if you don't eat chocolate, your sugar level is gonna drop. Your concentration level is gonna drop.
Well, there is a line in
You
there
might end up
somewhere.
losing.
It's kind of like the Supreme Court once said about pornography. Like, I know it when I see it, right? And
Okay.
listen, a cup of coffee is different than going and taking a tranquilizer pill, right? I mean, a cup
No,
of coffee
I
is different
understand that.
than
I understand, but I'm
popping.
just being a devil's advocate into
Right,
saying that
right.
where
So
should you draw a line?
there's a line in
Like,
there somewhere, and I think that, like, I think in this particular case, Beth Harmon crosses a line, and like, I don't know if anyone is talking about the fact that she's cheating. What she literally did was cheat to win the tournament. And if I don't know, apparently she's going to be continuing to pop these pills in other episodes. So she is
yep.
going to continue to cheat her way to becoming a grandmaster. That is not the way to do it, in my humble opinion.
Well, let the readers and
Comment below if you think this is
spectators, yeah.
cheating, or am I being overly harsh on Beth Harmon? Because clearly she still has the talent despite cheating. But people say that about taking steroids in baseball. They're like, "Oh, but you still have to hit the baseball." Yeah, but you're like 30
You're
pounds.
doing.
You
No, I
know.
mean, yeah, your reflexes are much better, and then So this is one of the things that people are actually going through. Like one of my ex-students, he was like, well, cocaine is something that will make you alert for 4 hours, and if you just memorize the textbook, you do well in that exam. And I was like, wasn't that considered as cheating then? It's the same thing if you're using, steroids in athletics, any physical activity.
Well, because the point is, okay, it's supposed to be me versus, let's say, Beth Harmon. Who's best, right? And
Yeah.
now if you're suddenly taking some sort of performance enhancing drug, it's like now not only you're not competing against Beth Harmon, you're competing against like super Beth Harmon, right? It's like so. And then you can have some sort of war between, okay, if she's going to take a tranquilizer, I'm going to take Adderall, right? And
Okay.
it becomes this like race towards this unhealthy place where we
Hmm.
don't want unhealthy people in sports. Now, okay, this is a fictional movie in the 1960s. I get it, but that's where it could go if you're like trying to determine like someone's true level. Your true level is not you plus a tranquilizer. Your true level is you plus all those emotions, all that anxiety, all that fear, all that intimidation. Because
All that
clear,
fatigue, maybe.
because clearly he was trying to intimidate her, and it was working a little bit. He was getting inside of her head, and that is a part of sport, right? So I think it's a little unfair to be able just to go and take a tranquilizer
No,
to.
should fatigue also be a part of it? Because machines can keep playing at the same level regardless of how many hours you play. But human beings' level starts
Of
dropping
course,
after a few hours.
fatigue.
So
Well,
if you're taking something to to be less fatigued, I guess,
absolutely, absolutely. Because part.
should that be considered as a performance enhancement?
Well, a lot of the chess grandmasters used to exercise. They would exercise. They would try to eat healthy. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they still do, but
I mean, Casper used to do like freaking swimming,
but they would try to stay
like
healthy so
mm,
that so that they could maintain that energy level
physically. Yeah, yeah.
over the course of many. So and the time play at the tournaments later on is 2 hours for 40 moves,
Yeah,
right?
and then 1 hour for the rest of the moves.
So you have to
So it's
maintain
6 hours. Yeah, 3 hours from your side, 3 hours from the other side. It's like 6 hours of constant
6 hours.
thing. And yeah,
Yeah.
till you adjourn the game and then come back and do it tomorrow. Do it the next day, plus the next day's round as well.
So this is a sport, and I don't think it's fair to mix drugs in there. Okay, so let's wrap this up, Nishant. We're going to
Right.
review episode 3 also, but
Okay.
for now, I think we touched on a lot of great topics, and please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. What do you think about this episode? And until next time, we'll see you later.
All right.
All right, bye.